What's going on, everyone? Um, I was watching this 2020 special of Donald Sterling's girlfriend being interviewed by Barbara Walters. Let me tell you something. First of all, I'm gonna show you the whole entire interview, but I gotta say this up front. You're going to notice a lot of pausing that she do. It's like she was thinking of answers to make this guy better than what the people, the world see him as, And I think she was pausing a lot, because she is still on his payroll. I don't know, as a mistress or whatever the case may be. She's calling herself now a personal assistant instead of his girlfriend. Because I guess she didn't want to be labeled as a gold digger. So she's saying to the world now, here on 2020 exclusive, that she was his personal assistant. And it's all about the image, you know what I'm saying? I believe that he's paying her to make him look good. That's exactly what I believe, She's a very fine woman, but I still, even with the interview and all, because all of a sudden now he's not a racist. Now he's just someone that's been stressed out and confused and all that. And let me tell you another thing too. This is the same woman who set this whole thing up. And now she's like saying that it's the people's fault for, what they heard that she set up. It's the people's fault for not understanding, even though she set it up. It's the people's fault for not caring about this older man, even though she set it up. So I'm not understanding why all of a sudden the change of heart, You set this whole thing up because you thought that he was going to break up with you, which was obviously going to happen, And let me tell you, Donald Sterling's wife is butt-ass ugly. She looked like that. I was thinking of Hannibal. I was thinking about that old guy that was in that wheelchair, you know what I'm saying? With the face that looks all, like it's been sucked in or something like that. I look at his girlfriend, and she looked just like that dude on Hannibal. Look at the movie Hannibal. And look at that dude in the wheelchair with the sucked in face. That motherfucker's ugly as hell. So I just wanted to, I had to get that out the way. Everybody's been clowning her ass. Even Tom Joyner been clowning her. The whole team there been clowning her, So, and then you got this pretty young thing. She's like 31 years old. She's pretty as all heck. She's bad. She's bad, man. But she's a gold digger. And I don't care what she said on Barbara Walters. She's still a gold digger because she's still accepting Donald Sterling's money. Donald paid her to make him look like this guy who's not a bigot, who's not racist. Even though when Barbara Walters asks you these questions about is he a racist and this and that, you know what I'm saying? And even quoted some of the audio recordings, you're still sitting up there in denial, talking about, he's not a racist, he was just stressed out or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to let you listen to the interview, and you make your own judgments. All right, here we go. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to just let you look at the interview.
We're exiting a restaurant espousing presidential aspirations. Who is she? She is 31-year-old V. Stiviano, the woman often at Sterling's side at Clipper games, nearly 50 years his junior. On Instagram, she calls herself an artist, lover, and philanthropist. But it was that Instagram account that got her into hot water with Sterling when she posted that picture of herself with Magic Johnson. Sterling's anger at Stiviano, part of that now famous recording.
Taking pictures with minorities. Why?
What's wrong with minorities?
That bothers me a lot that you want to broadcast that you're associating with black people.
Stiviano says she's half black, half Latina. Her name was Maria Vanessa Perez until 2010 when she legally changed it because she says she felt she hadn't, quote, yet been fully accepted because of my race. In the recording, despite Sterling's anger, Stiviano tries to make peace.
Here you go, honey. A little bit of juice, baby.
Thank you,
Honey, if it makes you happy, I will remove all of the black people from my Instagram.
Donald Sterling has allegedly showered Ms. Stiviano with gifts, including a $1.8 million duplex, this Ferrari, 2 Bentleys, and he threw in an extra $240,000 to cover living expenses. But Sterling is still married to the same woman he married 57 years ago. Seen here next to Stiviano, the 80-year-old Mrs. Sterling wants those gifts back. So to get them back, Shelley Sterling filed a lawsuit in March against the other woman who met her husband at a Super Bowl game in 2010. The lawsuit alleges Stiviano engages in conduct designed to target, seduce, cajole, and or receive as gifts transfers of wealth from wealthy older men. But Shelley Sterling still joined her husband for dinner earlier this week, defending him to the paparazzi.
Are you a racist, Mr. Sterling?
No, of course not.
Are you a racist? The accusations, are they true?
Oh, forget it. It's not true.
Well, you just heard the wife, now the other woman. Tonight, V. Stiviano is talking. Why did she record Donald Sterling? Is he a racist? And just what is their relationship?
Barbara Walters asking those very questions tonight, and she joins us now from Los Angeles. Barbara?
David and Elizabeth, it has been such a roller coaster day. We met with Donald Sterling and V. Stiviano, who describes himself as his personal assistant, several times. Both agreed to speak to me, and then it went back and forth and back and forth. Finally, Donald Sterling decided not to be interviewed, but his companion, the woman you have seen with a visor, she did speak to me. So here is that interview with V. Stiviano. Miss Stiviano, you just left Donald Sterling. What is his state of mind right now?
Confused. I think he feels very alone, not truly supported by those around him, tormented, emotionally traumatized.
You were with him, so he's not alone.
I'm with him in a state of where I want to help him, urging him to come to his own rescue. But even so, I think he feels that he's alone.
You say that Donald Sterling is emotionally traumatized. From what?
From everything, from everyone, from the media, from his peers, from his fellow employees, from his acquaintances. He's hurt. I think he's highly more traumatized and hurt by the things that he said himself. I think he can't even believe or understand sometimes the things he says. And I think he's hurt by it. He's hurting right now.
Do you think that Donald Sterling should apologize?
Absolutely.
Did you discuss this with him?
Yes.
Will he apologize?
Only God knows.
Can you tell me what your relationship with Donald Sterling is?
I'm Mr. Sterling's right-hand arm, man. I'm Mr. Sterling everything. I'm his confidant, his best friend, his silly rabbit.
His what?
His silly rabbit.
His silly rabbit?
Yes.
Is that what he calls you?
No. I call myself that.
I see, okay.
I joke around and I make him laugh. I do things that some people find very silly, or I do things that sometimes people can understand our relationship. I'm his everything. Our relationship started off me working for Mr. Sterling and his nonprofit organization, the Donald T. Sterling Foundation, and it's evolved to so much more, on a level in which it's become a big scandal.
Scandalous?
No, on a level which it became a big scandal.
It became a scandal.
Yes.
Yeah, why?
I think God has its purpose. And I wish I could answer that question sometimes. And I keep asking myself, how and why? But the truth is that how and why doesn't even matter anymore. It's here. And some things needed to be brought to the light. And I think sometimes we're forced into situations, into circumstances in which we have to choose to do good by. And everything and everyone is a test. And I think Mr. Sterling is being tested right now by a higher power or being. And I'm forced to come to his rescue because he can rescue himself.
Are you in love with Donald Sterling?
I love him.
I'm not sure that's what I asked. Are you in love?
No, I'm not in love.
You love him what? Like a friend?
I
Like
love
a
him like-
romance?
I love him like a father figure.
Like a father?
I love him just like a father figure.
Donald Sterling is in his 80s. You are in your 30s,
Yes, I'm 31.
and you're a beautiful young woman. So I'm not sure that I understand the relationship.
Well, I'm Mr. Sterling's personal assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm his right hand. I'm his wingman. What isn't there to understand?
Well, let me ask this. Do you and Donald Sterling have a financial arrangement? You say you're his assistant. Does he pay you?
Yes.
And he pays you as an employee?
He doesn't have me. He at first started paying me as an employee, and then he started paying me off the books.
Off the books.
Yes.
People have seen you walking with a visor. Why the visor?
I'm hurting. I'm in pain. It hurts to see someone that you care about hurting. It hurts to see people speculate, assume, say, throw darts at you when they don't know you, when they don't know your story, when they don't know the truth, all based on hearsay and assumptions. It hurts. It's easier to mask the pain.
If you wear the visor, you can hide your face and hide the pain. This is a question that I ask very often, but it seems to me so appropriate now. What's the biggest misconception about you?
That I'm a mistress or a whore or a woman of the night. And all those misconceptions are just on my Instagram, I think, or it's speculations of not real journalists doing their job, asking the wrong people information about me that they don't know or have real facts.
Well, so many of you weighing in already. Tweet us right now. We're online. Use the hashtag ABC2020. And when we come back here tonight, more of Barbara's interview with the woman at the center of this firestorm with perhaps the biggest question of all.
That's right. The question is the owner of the LA Clippers, Donald Sterling,
Anyway, just from that interview, you could tell there's a bunch of lies going on. You can already tell there's a bunch of lies going on. You can already tell that there's some cover-ups going on. You know, I know she isn't telling the truth. You know, you could just tell by the way she pauses. You could tell by the way she looks all around in the room to try to find some answers to come to her head, whatever. You know, it's a bunch of lies so far. But anyway, this is the second part of the interview, and then that's gonna be it here.
Now we continue with more of Barbara Walters' exclusive interview with V. Stiviano, the woman who's hiding behind that visor no more.
And of course, the big question remains, did he mean what he said on those recordings? Does V. Stiviano believe that the owner of that team is a racist? Here again, Barbara Walters.
Is Donald Sterling a racist?
No, I don't believe it in my heart.
Have you heard him say derogatory things about minorities in general, blacks in particular?
Absolutely.
You've heard him say derogatory things?
Yes.
Don't they sound racist to you?
I think the things he says are not what he feels. Anyone can say anything in the heat of the moment.
Not everybody makes alleged racist remarks in the heat of the moment. Sometimes in the heat of the moment you say things
That you mean,
that you mean.
or that you feel.
Yeah. Explain how he says these things.
I think Mr. Sterling's from a different generation than I am. I think he was brought up to believe those things.
What things?
Segregation,
Uh-huh.
whites and blacks,
Right.
minorities, from black Jews to light Jews to dark Jews.
Black Jews?
Yes.
So it's not just blacks, it's anti-Semitism he expresses, but he's Jewish.
But through his actions, he's shown that he's not a racist. Through his actions, he's shown to be a very generous and kind man. If he was a real racist, then why would he help the world the way that he has? I think he was overwhelmed by the situation. He was overwhelmed by the phone calls.
The situation in which you said derogatory things about blacks?
No, I think he was overwhelmed by the phone calls of many negative people calling him, all these naysayers.
About you?
About me.
I see, okay.
And
In other words, friends of his were saying bad things about you.
Yes.
Why is he with you?
they couldn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's a very powerful man, part of the 1% in which most people read about.
He's very rich.
Yes. And no one understands why Mr. Sterling has this young girl around him. Why?
Well, there is 50 years difference in your age.
No one understood why I wouldn't allow Mr. Sterling to speak with certain people or have meetings with certain people, or no one understood that. And all of the people that were involved with him in real estate or business or board meetings, there are certain things that I wouldn't allow Mr. Sterling to say that can hurt him. And I became part of Mr. Sterling's team. I became someone who protected him, someone who took care of him, someone who watched everything he said and did. And people did not like that. People were used to Mr. Sterling being Mr. Sterling. And here comes the V, and everything changed.
So you helped him become a better person.
In every way.
Mm-hmm.
In every way.
I want to go through some of the things that he has said and get your comment on them. He said to you about black people, you can sleep with them, you can bring them in, you can do whatever you want. I just ask you not to promote it, not to bring them to my games. Why not?
There was a point in time where I had the leniency and the liberty to bring whomever I want as his right hand. I get the perks of doing whatever I want for the most part when it comes to the NBA team. And a lot of people were jealous of that. A lot of executive and board of directors for the Clippers organization did not like that. So having that freedom, Mrs. Sterling allowed me to bring whomever I wanted. And on occasions when Mr. Sterling wasn't there and I was attending the games, people would call him and tell him that I brought a certain amount of people and that they look like a certain way.
Black people.
Well, not just black people.
Well, he said you can sleep with them, you can bring them in, you can do whatever you want. He was not just talking about black people, he was talking about anybody you brought.
I think he was generalizing. I think the focus of the subject at that time was just black people. But I think he referred to everyone, not just black people, when he made that statement.
Well, it's a little
Confusing.
yes, because he says the little I ask you is not to promote it, not to bring them to my games. Them talking about
Those people that didn't give me a good look. People that were perceived based on the calls and the assumptions these other individuals were making to Mr. Sterling. They would say negative things like V brought gangsters, or V was hanging out with thugs, or V was hanging around with bad women or with fat women. Just, it wasn't only men, it was also women. Part of the audio in which the world heard was only 15 minutes. There's a number of other hours that the world doesn't know.
in one of your recorded conversations with Sterling, you said, I wish I could change the color of my skin.
I was being cynical and sarcastic.
I see.
I wanted to get him to see what he was doing to me, what he was doing to himself. A lot of the times I would overemphasize and be cynical because he just didn't get it. He couldn't understand my views or the views of those around us. And I would have to paint that picture to him in color with words.
So you are, as I've said, you are half black and half Mexican. And you were very close to Donald Sterling.
Yes.
You do not consider him a racist.
No.
No. Do you think he should apologize?
Absolutely.
Do you think he will apologize?
Only God knows.
There are so many facets to this fascinating story: race, power, and wealth, the least of which is the nature of the relationship between this beautiful woman and the billionaire, Donald Sterling.
Barbara Walters with that exclusive interview to
They just going with the rest of, whatever they was having on the show, this and that. The interview was bullshit. Because V. Stiviano doesn't think of him as a racist. And like I said, she just think of him having these comments when he was stressed out or confused and stuff like that, whatever, the woman herself, she the one made this whole media circus happen. She's the one that put Donald Sterling on the chopping block, whatever you call it, and made all of this happen. And now all of a sudden, this woman wants to make Donald Sterling a different kind of person. The person outside that we don't see. Okay, let's go back in history a bit. Like the video that I showed you before about when Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless were saying, this is a history of racism and prejudice and bigotry that he's been on. As far as the housing complexes, he doesn't like blacks and Hispanics in his housing complexes. Okay? That's just one of many instances where you can see that he has a problem with black people, period. The NBA didn't even catch up on all of this, what Donald Sterling's personal life was about, and, this housing thing that he don't rent out to minorities, from what he call us, whatever. But all of a sudden, here's this woman on 2020, his mistress, personal assistant, whatever the hell you want to call her. We all know who she really is. And now she's trying to sit there and say, you know, he's just confused. He's just been stressed out. This is something that's been brought up to him when he was raised this way, you know. He was raised to be this type of person who disliked this and dislike Jews and all. And that's the reason why he is what he is. And one more thing before I end this video that was kind of like ticking me off on the inside, okay? When Barbara Walters asked her the simple question about her bringing black people, her not being able to bring black people to her game, and she sit up there with this straight up face like he wasn't talking about black people. He was talking about everybody. He was talking about gangsters and thugs and stuff like that. Which you mean black people. Barbara Walters sit there and gave you a simple, all she asked was a simple question, and you cannot even give her a simple answer. Your best answer was everybody.